Oh, guys, good, you're here. I am so excited. Guess what?
I hope this isn't about your podcast again.
Why, did you finally listen to it?
I came in like a wrecking ball.
The Groomer Next Door is recorded in front of a live studio audience. Welcome to the Groomer Next Door. You're listening to my mommy and daddy.
And now our feature presentation.
And here's your host, my mommy and daddy, Chris and Stella Green.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 74 of The Groomer Next Door. I'm your co-host, Chris Green. Sitting next to me, as always, is the lovely and fabulous Sarah.
Hello.
Well, this week, we're going to go and talk about fleas and ticks, since that's pretty much the topic of what we're seeing a lot of now because of the season. That will be our main story of this week, and we will dive deeply into that. As well, we will go into our weekly roundup as we do every week. We have another edition of clarification. We have an Ain't Nobody Got Time for That moment of the week, and a real touching story that came, it was in the story, I think, last week, so it's about a week old, but it was new when I actually recorded it. It was a really sad story about a tornado that hit, and there's a pup that went missing and found his way home. So, a little bit of the sweet, the sour, and the happy part of the episode. So, anyways, let's dive into the weekly roundup and see what went on last week. Well, I can speak for myself and say, oh my goodness, what a week it was, right?
Yes. Yeah, I'm trying to think here. It was so much going on that I kind of just spaced everything. Our Friday was ginormous. Our Friday had, 3 big dogs?
Yep.
And then our Thursday had, 2 big dogs. And stuff like that.
Yeah,
What points out for you?
Well, actually, what pointed out for me was all the big dogs, obviously. One of the main things that we want to talk about, which we always talk about this, especially in the accelerated, pretty much schedules of all groomers, is you got to be understanding that you may not be able to get an appointment right away. If you have a large dog and you want to actually get an appointment day of, if you actually do find a groomer that's available to work, they're probably not good. There's a reason why they don't have any dogs.
And sometimes it's because simple, they had a cancellation, a no-show. I know that happens to us when we get so far booked out that we get people that forget. Like, oh shoot, yeah, I made this appointment 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, and I forgot about it. And then those poor people have to wait another 4 to 6 weeks to get their dogs groomed. So it's super important, especially if you're going to a good groomer. Make sure you keep it on the calendar. Don't miss the appointment, because most likely you're not going to get in for another 4 to 6 weeks, and then your dog laps a complete haircut.
Right. And then
or play on their heartstrings, and maybe they'll take you in.
Maybe, but I mean, we've had our share this week of people saying, "Please, can you work us in?" We just don't. We literally have too many dogs in a day, it seems like. And I felt like that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we were at a stage where we literally were probably, I would say, 2 dogs over what we should have, because we were allowing ourselves
It's starting to get to the point where if we don't take these dogs in, then the likelihood of them going somewhere that isn't as good as us is higher. I don't want that to happen. I don't want the pup to get a different type of treatment that's not as top-notch as ours, because I can guarantee that what you and I do is top-notch, and go somewhere that's a little subpar.
Yeah, and that's the hard part. And all of your main shops that are highly recommended with high quality are all booked out like we are. And it can be very difficult. So that's the first thing I want to actually mention to all of you.
To all of you. To
all
all
of
of you.
you.
To
To
all
all
of
of
you.
you.
All
We're
of
going to
you.
go all hood like on the Groomer
All
Next
y'all.
Door. All y'all. It's just very important, that you guys are prepared. I was asked this question by my grandmother this week. She's like, well, is grooming anything like when you go to the hairstylist?
Nope.
When you walk into a hairstylist and they're sitting there reading a magazine. And I go, only if the shop is terrible will you ever find that. I says, in grooming, you pretty much are working from the moment you start to the moment you're done. And that could be 8 o'clock.
Oh, she's talking about the stylist sitting there reading a magazine, not the actual people.
My grandmother calls them operators. I guess that's what they used to call them. So
That's so cute.
So I'm like, hairstylist. Yeah, operators. No, hairstylist. So she's like, well,
That's funny.
Are they sitting there? Do you guys just sit there reading a magazine? I go, I wish. No, it doesn't work that way.
We take the first half hour of the day and we catch up on what's going on. We talk about certain situations that have popped up through the weekend or the week. Have a little huddle with Keith as he comes in. And then we start getting to work. In that half hour, we get people a chance to come in. Now, you and I defer, we're different on this part. You want people to be there right on time, and anything past that is late.
Yes.
And a charging fee. I will allow 15 to 20 minute grace period with no charging fee.
Okay,
I'm a sucker.
I don't have a problem with 15, 20 minutes. It's 2 hours I have a problem with.
Yeah, no. I put my foot down there.
Oh, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, let me explain to you. Here's a typical scenario with Sarah. It's about 1 o'clock, and the afternoon dogs haven't come in. Now, their scheduled appointment's 12:30. All right, so 1 o'clock rolls around. I'm like, okay, I guess they won't be here. No big deal. 1:30 comes around, and all of a sudden, she comes back with a dog, and, it could be a St. Bernard. Hi, here you go. That's probably not possible. Well, you know what? There was circumstances. No, there's no circumstances. And folks, I'm really stickler when it comes to time. Sarah, you know this. I have to be someplace even before my appointment is. If I have to be somewhere, set time is there. If I'm supposed to be there at 12, I'm there at 11:45. So it's one of those, I can't stand tardiness. But now,
and plus, you can't be too early either, because then the groomer has to stop doing what they're doing. And most groomers plan their day out to where they'll be free at a certain time to check in the afternoon dogs.
Yeah.
Now, if you show up too early, like halfway in between the two appointment times that we're able to schedule, like if the morning appointment's at 8:30, and then the next morning appointment's at 12:30, and you show up at 10. Then we had to put the dog on our table down and come out and get your dog in. Circumstances happen, but
that's workable. That's still workable.
You want to try to keep around your actual appointment time. That would be the best. But
I actually sometimes love it when our afternoon dogs come in.
At 7:30 in the morning.
Well, sometimes I do, actually.
We have a couple that do that show up at 7:30.
Actually, I do like that, actually. I like that a lot.
They get a doggy sitter and a grooming all on the same day.
See, I always like it because then I can really see where my day is going. And then if, I'm running, or if I'm running behind, I'll be able to, really know. Or if I'm super ahead of myself, well, I can
Which
plan
you normally
it.
are.
Sometimes, not Thursday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I was not ahead of myself.
Well, it was ginormous dog after ginormous dog.
Yeah. That was rough.
And please be very clear on what kind of dog you have.
That wasn't the thing that stood out. That's still not the thing. I have another one to bring up because this is hilarious. It's not that. It's when you actually have a tidy on the appointment book, and then when you get there, you want a full groom. That's the difficult one.
That's right.
That's
yes.
one. That's the first one that I wanted to mention.
We had a Cavalier come in, and they just adopted this little Cavalier. And King Charles Cavalier Spaniel, they aren't supposed to have much done. they're meant to have long hair, but most people keep them short. These people wanted to keep him longer. So I said, I just want to trim up the feet so he doesn't have gridge feet, and get the sanitary done, get his ears cleaned out. So I was planning my day on that. That takes me about 20-30 minutes. She comes in for a full haircut. That's an hour and probably hour 10 minutes for a cavalier to do it properly. And I was like, oh no. I'm instantly an hour behind because she told me face, feet, and fanny, a tidy. And they want a full-blown haircut.
Right.
So you really want to be specific on what you want. Now, if your dog rolled in something like glue.
Oh boy.
Or has got out somehow and just rolled in a bunch of sticker burrs, then yeah, shaving, you can't. There's no way around it. There is an exception to every rule, but if you just go, oh no, I want a full haircut instead.
Yeah.
You let them know ahead of time so they can schedule.
Yeah,
it properly.
especially right around now. And I mean, everybody knows that at our shop, it's crazy busy and really hard to get in. So when you make that kind of curveball, oh goodness. Now the other part of the week that stands out was the pulley.
Yes, we had a puppy pulley come in. That was pretty awesome. You're not supposed to brush these dogs, and it was kind of start at the beginning.
Yeah. That's why I was like,
start at the beginning.
I threw you a softball there, and I was hoping you would actually go with it.
I dropped it.
Yep.
So here,
swing and miss.
Lady calls in, and I answer the phone, and I hear her tell me she has a poodle puppy. Okay. That's more common than someone calling in and asking for a pulley. I was like, okay, not a problem. For the first groom, you probably don't want to take anything off the coat. You probably just want to trim up the feet, shave out the pads, clean out between the eyes, get the ear hair pulled, and a good brush. And she kind of stopped and totally turned her complete attitude around and was a little annoyed. And she goes, I was told you're not supposed to brush them. And I was like, wait a second, what kind of dog do you have? I have a pulley puppy. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. Now, oh my gosh, I just totally gave you the instructions for a poodle, not for a pulley. She starts cracking up, and she said, you had me worried. You come highly recommended by many different people, and then talking to you, I'm like, you have this much ignorance? I was like, no, trust me.
Now, I've never actually seen one in person.
Mm-hmm.
Have I? Really? We had one come in?
No, we did never have.
Okay.
We haven't had one come in, but you have seen one before.
Well, okay. I've never seen one at the shop.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I've never
more
seen
accurate.
one at the shop. I've never seen a puppy.
Never seen a puppy.
That was the first time for me. So, seeing a puppy first time, and the very first pulley in the actual salon. And I've been doing this a year and a half, and I've never seen one.
Well, I've been grooming for 10 years and never groomed a pulley before. Now, for all
scary.
you out there who don't know what pulleys are, if I'm correct, it's a Hungarian dog, and their hair naturally cords, and cords mean kind of like dreadlocks.
I was going to
They're
say,
not
think of
the
a
same.
Rastafarian dog.
Yes, if you ever seen on commercials a mop dog, it looks like a mop running around shaking and all these cords flying over. That's what I'm talking about. You also have common doors, which are ginormous in the same premise. At puppy stage, they do not cord yet. At puppy stage, they're just very curly hair. So you got to make sure you don't over blow dry it, so it just comes out as a frizz ball.
Yeah.
That's something I probably should have told
Yeah,
you
you didn't
before
tell
you
me that.
washed and
Yeah.
dried.
I was starting to realize that's kind of poofing up.
Yeah, it started poofing up real big, and I took some water in my hands and ran it through the coat again just to get it damp, so it kind of counteracted what you did.
Yeah. I guess I was underprepared for that one too.
So we got the pads shaved out and the sanitary done. The breeder, though, well, I understand the breeder did a wide sanitary, a ginormous round sanitary that went out on either side about an inch underneath the tail. I like, okay. So the lady and I had a nice long conversation once she realized I was competent enough to handle her dog.
Well, what's funny about this dog was, now it's first ever bath, first ever time in an experience, and I had already seen my day. Kind of, a lot of the dogs had arrived, and well, let's just say upon drying, as I'm drying, he decided to poop, but not just poop, but shoot it at the wall.
Well,
it was
blow drying
everywhere.
At the exact same moment as I came out and splatter. It looked like
yeah, it was bad.
It looked like a paintball hit the wall.
Yep, brown paintball.
So that was absolutely hilarious coming in and seeing that.
Yeah, it was really hilarious for me too.
So what's nice is that the lady's going to bring me in. She's ordering me a book. She goes, "I really like you. I really like your spot here. The most of the pups don't start courting until about 2 years. 2 years old.
At least.
And you have to do a special technique, and you got to pull apart, separate the hair, so it goes into a cord and not grow at one big mat solid from head to toe, and you peel it off like an Afghan. Not the Afghan hound, just like a blanket."
Yeah. I actually got blanket out of that, but okay. I could see where you would actually said otherwise.
So, she's going to order me a book, and I did a lot of research and such, and they said it takes a couple days for them to fully dry. And if you don't do it properly, the cords will start stanking.
I love that, stanking. The cords will start stanking.
Shut up. Leave me alone. So it's an all-day experience, and you got to, separate each cord, and when they start cording, it is going to be a lot.
Don't worry, folks. When this actually happens, which we're years from, but I will film this.
Yes, because we'll wash them and we'll dry them as much as we could in the salon with our dryers, and then they'll take them home and continue drying for the next day or two afterwards.
Yeah, because they don't dry. They
don't dry. Their cords hold on to the water. We have to squeeze out each cord as we can.
I quit by the time that this dog actually becomes of age. I quit. That's I'm giving my notice. In 2 years, I quit.
Know, I'm going to send you to Police Special Academy.
Oh yeah.
So only you get to handle this dog.
Nope. Actually, they probably will train on that.
I don't know.
All right. Well, that was our week, folks. I mean, obviously we have tons of other things that happened, but I always like to talk about the unique dogs and the unique experiences that we go through. I mean, that's kind of, the majestic side of this. All right, so I always like to go, especially during soccer season with Claire, I always like to have a moment called clarification. So this is Claire after her soccer game yesterday. We are joined again for another episode of Clarification, starring Claire. How you doing?
Good.
You just got done with your soccer game. How was your soccer game this week?
Guess what?
What?
I almost got 3 scores.
Yeah, you almost had 3 goals. You did score 1 goal in this game. What was that like?
I was paying attention to the ball, and when
the net? Right?
Right, I almost I got my foot on the white inside the net.
Oh, the line.
Inside the line, and I just pushed it away, and I just kicked into our net.
Yep, you were able to actually stop the ball right at the line, turn around, and was able to keep the ball inbounds, and then run all the way upfield and score. That was amazing.
I know.
And you almost had 2 more goals on top of that. That was a great game. You were really playing amazing.
Yeah, I was paying attention.
That's what matters. So how was school this week?
Good. And on Monday, guess what?
You're the line leader?
Yes.
Do you want to say hi to your teacher?
Hi, Mrs. Brown.
Yep, just in case Mrs. Brown's listening, we want to make sure we say hi to her. So, anything else going on?
No.
Do you want to tell us anything else?
No.
You sure? Is that all that you want to talk about this week?
Yes.
All right, well, say goodbye to everybody.
Bye.
All right, well, that was our adorable little Claire in our segment called Clarification. I'd like to segue over to a story that we picked up I think it was Sunday night, right after we had done the podcast last week. And it was a story about a tornado that hit in the Midwest. And, living in the Midwest, we have an understanding of what it's like to, deal with these types of storms. So for all of our listeners that are overseas that don't deal with tornadoes, well, you're lucky. And to all of our listeners on the West Coast who actually only deal with earthquakes, you're also lucky, because I know what it's like to deal with earthquakes, and they're not fun. But, we never know when an earthquake is going to hit, but we don't have something called earthquake season. When you live in the Midwest, there's unfortunately tornado season, so that can be really challenging. This story, it comes with a little bit of sadness, comes with a lot of sadness, but it also comes with a little bit more story. So I really wanted to put it in there, kind of give people an understanding of what it's like to live in the Midwest. So sit back and give a listen to this segment.
Victim who lost his wife and his home has a reason to smile tonight after being reunited with his lost dog. Clem Schultz had been searching for Missy since she disappeared during Thursday's tornado. The deadly twister killed Schultz's wife, Jerry. Tonight we spoke to his grandson, Tyler. He chased Missy down this afternoon after ComEd crews spotted her outside of Fairdale.
She was really happy to see my grandpa, and my grandpa was extremely happy to see her, because it's basically all he has left after the storm. And he hasn't let go of her since he's gotten her.
So sweet. The reunion has sparked an outpouring of well wishes to the family on social media.
All right. Well, it's always sad to hear about pets that get loose, whether it's just, they broke free of their collar, was able to jump a fence, the fence left open, or natural disaster. It's always sad to hear. But when they actually can reunite with their owners, and in circumstances like this, I mean, the guy lost his wife.
Lost his best friend.
Yep. And, then all of a sudden his dog does come back. That is a moment that actually means a lot. So, it was a sad story, but, it had somewhat of a happy ending in some sense. So, I always want to put, especially for our listeners that are overseas that probably don't have these kind of things, that don't deal with them, it might be interesting for them to actually hear about it as well. And I'm always thinking about all of you guys who are listening to the show, whether you're right here in the United States, Canada, or wherever. What's up? Birds?
Yeah, birds are just wandering around our yard.
Yeah, that happens. Well, we've had a bunny in our yard the last couple days.
Well, they've been feeding it. They've been putting bread out for the birds, and then
oh, is that how that happened?
The bunny came out because there's a ton of lettuce that they put out here.
Oh, I just thought it was because of the grass. Oh, no wonder.
Yeah.
We could have had dinner too. Dinner too. Oh, we could have named it lunch. Yeah, for any of you guys who don't know, we had bunnies for a while. Before we even had dogs. I named mine dinner and Sarah's was dessert. No, we never ate them. But, oh, so much fun having bunnies as pets. Never again, though. And it's always, miss them so much. All right, well, to move right along in the show, I wanted to actually play Ain't Nobody Got Time for That moment of the week.
Yes.
And you actually have experience with this particular facility. I won't say too much. I'll wait until after the segment. And then we can actually, go back and forth about two different subjects. So sit back and enjoy this week's Ain't Nobody Got Time for That.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that.
An Oviedo woman claims a well-known pet hospital refused to euthanize her dog unless she renewed her pet health care plan at a higher rate.
It's a company Action 9 investigated before for billing pet insurance charges after an animal's death. Todd Ulrich took her case to corporate managers for answers.
Euthanizing her dog Misty after 13 years was incredibly hard. But Annie Suarez says what this pet hospital did that day is unforgivable.
I know she had to go one day, but in the manner in which she went, it was inhuman.
Annie had purchased a kind of pet insurance at Banfield Pet Hospital in 2003 and paid $25 a month. When Misty was dying, she expected to pay its euthanasia fee. Instead, Annie claims a manager said she had to sign a wellness plan upgrade first and pay $41 a month.
And I says, are you crazy? You expect for me to upgrade a plan when I'm going to euthanize this pet?
According to Annie, it was not a one-time charge. The company wanted a one-year contract for future vet wellness care. She refused and had Misty euthanized at another hospital. But then Banfield kept billing her for its wellness plan at the higher rate.
Well, when I speak to them, it's always a threatening call or letters.
Nationwide, Banfield's rated A+ at the BBB, but it does have 670 complaints. Online, we found many involved charges for its wellness plan long after pets die. At its Oviedo hospital,
I'm here about a complaint that's hard for us to believe.
I do not know the details of the case.
Later, a corporate spokesman said its wellness plan is preventative care, not insurance, and Annie's dog needed special care before it died and received upgraded services in advance, so Annie still owed plan fees after her dog died.
Oh, yes, Misty. Misty was family.
Now, corporate officials say Annie signed a new wellness plan days before her dog died, something Annie continues to deny. The company said it has tried to settle her complaint, but so far without success. Vanessa?
All right, so Banfield. You've got experience with them.
Yeah, I have.
And I've always had a curiosity on pet insurance. And we were talking about this when we first started recording the show last year. I was like, maybe I talk to somebody who actually does work in pet insurance sales. And I thought to myself, no, I really don't want to. And it was also, you were like, I don't know about that either. So let's first topic on Banfield. Now, you've had experience working at PetSmart with them, so go ahead.
Yeah, I did. I'm so glad I got away from that company. Let's start off there. I am glad I do not work for them anymore. Especially when I wasn't getting paid for my breaks.
Yeah.
And their lack of knowledge and all sorts of stuff. Anywho, I worked alongside Banfield for about
a boot.
Stop it. I was just shy of 5 years. I think I was 6 months shy of 5 years. And I don't know, I didn't quite care for them. I think they are overpriced by a lot. Where do I start with this?
I don't know.
Where do I start with this whole thought of Banfield? First off, PetSmart was every PetSmart out there was supposed to have one Banfield inside the store. Petco has a mobile veterinarian that comes to the store, I think once a month or something like that. That's how it's supposed to be. But if you notice now, there's a lot of PetSmarts opening up without Banfields. Mm-hmm. The one in Jeff City doesn't have a Banfield. Mm-hmm. They barely have a grooming salon and a specialty section, which is the fish. But their insurance is a crock of crap.
Obviously, from the story.
I tried... excuse me, hold on. I tried to persuade people not to work there. Or not to not work there.
Not to go there.
Not to go there. Their veterinarians that I got to meet were very knowledgeable. And they got every problem that came to them under control. Every now and then, you got a case that is just not going to work out, and the pup is going to pass away no matter what. But the veterinarians that I have seen there were very knowledgeable, very professional. The other ones, not so much. Their actual programs, not so much. They always made little problems much bigger to help sell more stuff. Because anyway you look at it, it was still a business. So the more stuff that they sold, like the specialty dog foods, they sold like Science Diet. Honestly, whatever you can get from Science Diet, you can get from any other food, high-end food, and you don't have to spend their science diet price.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always been annoyed with them. Always have. Except for the veterinarians. I want to make that as clear as possible. Those veterinarians have gone to their schooling, who have done their research, who have passed their classes, and it doesn't seem like Banfield necessarily hires uneducated veterinarians. Now, mind you, this has been almost 5 years ago, that I've worked anywhere near them and such. I had bad experience with the people who worked there. Some of those people were pretty POSs. You know, if you didn't think like them, then you're worthless. That was fun. But, anywho, when you're searching for pet insurance, it's important to know that when your dog passes away, that it stops after the cremation or the burial.
That didn't happen in this lady's story.
She had to pay for it for the full year. And that is ridiculous. When my dad passed away, we stopped paying his insurance because there's nothing to insure. His health was no longer there. It was gone. Same thing with your pet. You want to make sure that once your pet passes, that stops. And their insurance is not cheap.
No, $44 and some cents is what she's charged.
And that was one of the lower lines.
No, that was an upgrade from what she had. She even had a higher one or lower one than that. It was like
there's like
$30-some.
There's like 4 stages.
Yeah.
One's like $155 a month. So, I don't like people taking advantage of others.
Nope.
You're supposed to be in a position where you're helping animals. When does that ideal get perverted to the point where it's money making? Yes, everybody needs to make their money to survive and to support their family. But there's nothing in Banfield that's more expensive than a regular veterinarian. They don't have top-of-the-line stuff.
That's why I like regular vets. Go to a regular vet's office, a private-owned, kind of like a private practice for a doctor. I like the private vets. They seem to be more knowledgeable, and they actually don't gouge you.
Well, see, that's why what Banfield's so much different than most other veterinarians in general is because, you know, they are renting a space from PetSmart.
Uh-huh.
And it gets annoying because if something were to happen inside the PetSmart salon and we take the pup over, you know, panic attacks and such, we take him over there and they charge PetSmart the absolute fullest price they possibly can. They tack on every little itty bitty thing they possibly can to get every ounce they can away from PetSmart because the rent's so high to stay there.
Well, yeah.
Their veterinarians aren't paid extravagantly. Their vet techs aren't paid extravagantly. But it is Banfield, the business in general, that is trying to rake in the dough as much as possible. They've somehow, someway found a way to make everything so corporate. And the only people that are benefiting from it are the higher ups.
That's terrible. That's just terrible.
Yeah, because I've seen what their vet techs make, and I've seen vet techs come in and just, you guys make more than us. Well, vet tech went to school and went through a lot of schooling to be where they're at, to stop just shy of being a veterinarian. We go to school for a few months. We learn our trade throughout the years, just like what they would do.
Yeah.
You are always constantly learning about dogs throughout the year. Every time we say, oh, that's a new one, you just learn something.
Right.
And yet, we got paid more than they did. So, I don't know. I think Banfield is completely crooked.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. I've always had a mixed emotions about pet insurance. You know, in some sense, it's like, I think it would work out. I think it'd be, you know, helpful if you have a very sick dog. But for an average, you know, normal house dog, house cat, I don't know if I actually think it's worth it. And I honestly would love to hear if anybody who actually is listening to the podcast and you know of somebody who sells the insurance, pet insurance, you can always have them email us at thegroomernextdoor@yahoo.com. I would always like to hear from somebody who does it.
Sometimes the insurance includes spay and neuter.
Yeah.
It includes all shots yearly or annually, whatever, if it's every 3 years or whatnot. Checkups, 1 dental cleaning a year. It includes quite a bit. Now, if you add your $45 a month for 12 months, and you go in and you get your dog spayed, you get your dog's teeth cleaned, you get them all in shots, and you had to have a random checkup and you only paid a $15 copay on a vet visit that is $60, then you're getting full usage out of your
Yeah,
pet's
you
insurance.
would be, but if you think, okay, let's just say you're paying $30 a month, and put that in 20, that's, in 12 months, that's $360. So 44 is a lot more than that. That's going to be, what, $488 right there? It's definitely, the money is I don't know if it weighs the same. Like I said, I personally look at it and go, if your dog has medical issues, then maybe that's a smart idea. But if your dog's not, then I don't know.
Yeah, because it's not like...
And if you adopt your dog from a lot of shelters, they already are spayed or neutered.
Yeah, because once you get the dog spayed or neutered once, then you're not going to need it again.
Yeah. Hey, honey, have you taken Fido out to get spayed or neutered? It's time for him to get it done. At this point,
it's kind of an annual thing.
At this point, he's going to only get spaded, no longer neutered. Yeah, no, that's not going to...
Spaded.
Spaded. Well, it's a stupid... It was the point of that was it's a stupid person saying it, yeah. So, yeah, it's one of those things. Well, I think we kind of have covered that one as much as we can.
Yeah, just really look at the insurance and see if it's right for you. It might not be exactly what you think. It's not going to be like a full coverage like for humans. Because dogs don't get sick like humans do.
True. Unless for some reason, something weird happens, but yeah.
And Banfield in general, when Dinner, our bunny, passed away, we had Dinner cremated. And it took them 3 weeks to send Dinner off to get cremated.
Yeah, it did take a long time.
She was sitting in a freezer for 3 weeks before they took her.
Yeah, I was really upset.
I absolutely flipped out on them. I didn't care if I worked at PetSmart. I was a customer at this point. I was paying full price. PetSmart employees don't get discounts. And I wouldn't give discounts to Banfield employees either. So the veterinarian that came out and spoke to me, she explained the situation on why.
And the situation was stupid. You remember the situation why? No? They were waiting because they only can send out so many. They have to send out like a large quantity.
Oh, that's right, because they had a company come up, and this is horrible. This is a part that not very many of you will know, and if PetSmart comes after me, they can shove it.
Well, this is first-hand experience, though.
A company pulls up, and if you ever go into a PetSmart where there's a Banfield, and you see a guy walking out with a barrel, a green barrel, with a lid on it, that's how they transport. They don't take the pets out the back so people don't see it. They put them in a barrel.
Yep.
And they take it out to the truck that's refrigerated, and they go from there. But yes, they have to wait till they have enough pets to get cremated.
So many pounds have to go because they don't want to actually just pay for a 2-pound bunny to be sent out. They want to actually send out like the 100 pounds worth of animal for cremation. So yeah, that was a load of garbage, and I was furious.
Yeah, I was pretty.
Thanks for treating my animal like it's a pound of meat instead of an actual loved animal. That really upset me.
The only thing that came positive from that situation is that the box that we got back from them had Dinner's name inscribed on a metal or on a gold plaque.
Yeah.
In a really nice box, and her ashes, there's so little. There's very little ashes that came back. She was a small bunny.
But she was in a nice little velvet bag.
Yeah, with the flower that was inside.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that part, seeing it, saying, you know what, okay, thank you for getting this done. I appreciate.
That's what only
the
thing that made it
care.
nice. That's
Yeah,
the only part that made it nice.
That I, what I got back was worth it.
Yeah, yeah.
But the 3 weeks waiting for her to be taken out, and then another couple weeks to get the ashes back, really sucked.
Yeah, it was terrible. I mean, but and if I smoked cigars, it would have been great because that box was wonderful for cigars. I mean, really, to think about it. I mean, if I was really one of those people that would have spread it in my garden, if I had a garden, spread the ashes in the garden and then use that. Weird. I know, right? I was just thinking about that box.
The box was just really nice.
It was a really nice box.
Really nice.
Yeah.
But all in all, I would stay away from it. I would go to veterinarians that are in town. I'm a big fan of spending money in the town you live in. So the money that you earn goes back into your community. That's the same way here that I feel. You spend the money in Banfield, yeah, the people get paid, but the money goes to a corporate.
Yes.
In another state. This way, you go to a veterinarian that's inside your community. The money typically stays there, and it helps your community grow.
I agree. I mean, I love the vet that we have. One day I hope that we actually can sit down, put a microphone up, and actually have a full-on interview with them for the show. I think we have some of the better vets in our local area.
Yes, we do. We have some extraordinary veterinarians in Rolla.
Yeah.
And what's nice is that the ones that they're just all very good.
Yeah, no, it's
kind of hard to say. Well, what's a good vet that you recommend?
That's hard to really do. I always recommend ours.
Yes, I do recommend Brown Veterinarian.
Yeah,
they're really good with us, and we were recommended by somebody else to go there, so we went there. They're good with ours, and they're not scared of breed specifics.
No,
they're not scared of a pit bull. We brought Roxy in, and they had the same reaction to Roxy as I did. Hi, Bubby. Yep. How are you?
Of course, it doesn't hurt that Roxy's just wagging her tail going, hi, new friends. Oh, man. On a side note, I'm going to throw this in. So I'm online the other night. Was it last night or was it Friday night? I can't remember. It was probably Friday night. And I'm not going to do too much topic on this. You know what drives me absolutely bonkers? I hate these people that, you're in pet enthusiast websites or Facebook or Twitter, whatever it is. You're on there and these people, how wonderful they love their animal, yada, yada, yada. But then they make some asinine comment about, a stereotype breed. And it's like, well, I had one on my porch, and I couldn't get to my rifle quick enough so I could shoot it. Now, folks, you can't be an animal lover, and then with the next sentence say, well, for one, I'm uneducated, I don't know anything about the stereotype breeds out there, so I don't know anything, and I'm willing to actually kill a living animal just because it's that breed. That drives me insane. And I will always respond, and I try to respond with an intelligent comments without putting them down.
Yeah, I'm glad you did that, because if I would have been kicked off the page.
Yeah, and I really don't want to insult people because, look, you know what? I'm fortunate, just like you're fortunate, to be lucky enough to learn all about animals and to be around them every day. I just can't stand people who stay to the stereotype. It's, well, I can't stand pit bulls, and I can't stand Akitas, and I can't stand Rottweilers, and I can't stand Doberman Pinschers because they're all bad dogs. No, it's the owner. You can line up the two things. Guns and dogs are very similar. They both have an ability to put harm. And always, it's because of the owner. Unless with a dog it has some kind of brain problem and there's the things that can lead up to it. But you would know about that.
Yeah, and that can be on any dog.
Yeah, exactly. It's always going to come down to the owner. No matter how we slice it, it's always down to the owner. And yet these individuals love to go around and say that, nope, it's the dog. I have no information to support this. I completely have no idea whatsoever what I'm talking about. I'm as uneducated about this as the possibilities, but you know what? I'm going to weigh in and I'm going to say whatever I want to say and then make some asinine comment about killing an animal that you don't know anything about. You don't even know the demeanor of the animal, and you're willing to be stupid enough to say that. It is the hardest thing for me to stay quiet and try to rationally inform these people that what they're saying is wrong and try to explain to them how it's wrong. Because no matter what, you can't change stupid. And the sad part is, there's too many of these people out there, and the worst of all is those are the people that are on different pages that are, I love my animal, blah, 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 and then, 50 threads later, they have a picture of their animal in a compromised position, hanging from the roof of their car or wherever, and they think it's a cute picture and so sweet, haha, it's so lovely, look at, he's hanging there by his neck, oh, Fido is so happy doing that, when in fact the dog is miserable or dying. And these idiots drive me crazy. So that's my rant for this week. Sorry, I wasn't even going to mention it, but it's been 2 days and I'm still annoyed. Well, if you haven't noticed, we are recording outside. It is a beautiful, well, not really beautiful, but it's a nice day to be outside.
Chilly.
A little
overcast.
chilly. Yeah, I thought it was going to rain. I was actually hoping it would be raining so that you would actually be able to hear rain as well, but unfortunately it didn't hit. It's kind of weird. All right, well, let's topic into our main objective for the week, which is flea and tick. Now, there's a lot of different things you guys need to know about fleas and tick. I left you, it's on yours, here's the second one. I actually left you guys in the album art a little bit of a teaser. I didn't know this, but there's a lot of things I don't know, and I'm willing to always say that. But a single flea can bite your pet more than 400 times in one day. I did not know that. So I was really kind of shocked by that one, like, whoa, that many? That was pretty odd. So I was like, I'm going to put that in the album art this week, so all of you, before you actually saw the show, you actually were able to read that. So you've had many more years of experience with flea and ticks than I have. So why don't you start us off?
Well, when I was first starting grooming, when I saw a tick, we had to send the dog home. Which is ridiculous, because if someone's taught how to properly remove a tick, it's no big deal. But it's really important to keep your dogs treated for fleas and ticks. And it's important to know which brand to go for and which ones to kind of stay away from. And it's not really because of any part where they make the dog sick. It's just some are not as effective as others. Now, my favorite always would be, if you're looking for a topical treatment, which is the one that you put on the dog's skin, I prefer Avantix 2. Now, with Avantix 2, you got to make sure that all the cats stay away from your dog, because it's poisonous to cats. So if you're in a home with no cats, or if you're in a home where the dogs and the cats don't roll around with each other and there's no chance of the medicine getting onto the cat, you're fine. Now, say if you have animals like ours, and they love to roll around the cats all the time, then going to the pill Comfortus, that would be a good idea. You can cut it up, and Katana, we have to shove it down her throat, because she refuses to eat it, and she'll pick it out of anything.
She's smart. She can get it out of anything.
So I put a little olive oil around it and shove it down her throat. In about 4 or 5 different pieces. So she doesn't like me for a while after that.
It's true.
Another really good brand is called First Shield. Now this is going to be funny, because the only place I found First Shield is at a Banfield. What's great about First Shield, you might be able to order it online, I don't know. And what's great about it is that we got First Shield when Mama Kitty had her kittens.
Yes.
And we put it on Roxy, because we only had Roxy at the time. We didn't have any other dogs. So,
Guy, is that weird that I actually remember going
and
out there and picking it up? And that was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe 5.
I remember.
5. I don't know. Wow.
we put the topical treatment on Roxy, and as the fleas that were on Roxy started biting, they died. And when they fell off, the fleas themselves became poisonous. And fleas are cannibals that eat each other. So we let Roxy around Mama Kitty and the kittens. You know, Roxy, yes, is a pit bull lab mix, and was fine around kittens. Mama Kitty didn't mind Roxy being around either. And as the dead fleas fell off of Roxy, they went over to where the where Mama Kitty was, and Mama Kitty had fleas because she was an outdoor cat. She gave birth so quick from us moving in, we had no chance of getting anything taken care of. So she had her babies. The babies got fleas because it was from Mama Kitty. They were right next to each other. So as Roxy was hanging out with Mama Kitty ended up with no fleas. The kittens didn't have any more fleas because First Shield made those fleas poisonous to where the other fleas would die themselves. It was fantastic stuff. I'm not sure if Banfield still carries it or whatnot, but it's called First Shield. Very good stuff. Some of the stuff you want to stay away from would be the stuff you can get at Walmart, the stuff you can get at Target. Stay away from them as best as you can. All because they're cheaper does not mean they're going to work as good. The generic forms in this outlet don't. It's not like buying generic mayonnaise. Generic form of flea medicine, there's a difference. And then Frontline is another real popular topical treatment. Problem with Frontline, something happened. They swear up and down nothing changed in their formula, but dogs seem to not be receptive to the formula anymore, and I still have dogs coming in with a bunch of fleas, and the owner's like, I just treated my dog 2 weeks ago. How does it still have fleas? Oh, I don't know.
I just thought it was funny that the bird wanted to actually be on the show. That's why I'm sitting here laughing.
Squawk, squawk. So I would stay away from Frontline. Now, if any of these actually work for your pet,
then don't change anything.
Don't fix anything that's not broken. But if you notice your dog's still getting fleas, still getting ticks, you really need to change your formula. Comfortus does not protect against ticks themselves, so you want to make sure you're not in a highly populated tick area. Since we hardly get ticks anywhere near us here, that's why my dogs are on Comfortus. Roxy, I put Roxy on Avantix too. And then Belle Grande, I'm probably going to have to get her the Comfortus because my daughter curls up with her and won't stay away from the medicine I put on her back.
And of course, Belle will not leave my side at night. She's right pressed up against me in bed, so that's another thing.
And
does the same thing to your mom.
Belle Grande is Rambo's favorite chew toy.
Yeah.
So we can't feed her, or we can't put that on her. Rambo's our cat, by the way.
If you haven't, if you're new to the show. Yeah.
Rambo loves beating up on Belle Grande.
Rambo likes to beat up on everybody. It's kind of fun.
What's funny is that Belle Grande can get higher up, and Rambo's so fat he can't move.
Yeah, Belle Grande likes to go to what I call the tower, which is the top of the couch, and just kind of looks down at everything. It's kind of funny.
And then Rambo's so big he can't exactly fit. So
off topic as always. Now here's one thing that you need to know. If you actually bathe your dog at home, and let's say you just got this dog recently and you don't know anything about the dog, if it has fleas or not, and you have it in the tub and you're putting water over its back, and all of a sudden you see kind of a copper red coming off of its back, and it's blood, don't freak out. That's normal. That is just the dry blood that's actually on the body of the dog. That
flea poop.
Well, flea poop, yeah. So it's just all the stuff that's kind of left over. So don't freak out. I remember when I first started, Sarah says to me, my very first time, she goes, that dog's gonna have fleas. Don't freak out. You're gonna see blood. It's not like the dog's cut. It's from fleas. And I was just like, okay, no big deal. And when I put the water, I'm like, oh my gosh, the water's all red.
Yeah, flea dirt is what most people like to say instead of flea poop. But flea dirt is a dried up forms of the blood. Their body extracts all the stuff that they need from the blood and then poops it out. So when it gets hydrated again, it does turn red. And I think that bird was squawking at us because we were too close to the bread.
Oh, okay.
Well, it was getting mad at us.
Well, he's on my yard, you know?
But, so don't freak out when you see it.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but yeah, you'll get used to it. If you wash your dog at home and right around this time of year when fleas are becoming big and throughout the summer, yeah, you'll see it all the time. Probably not as much as if, you haven't washed the dog in forever, but you'll see it.
A dog can get that rust red color if they've had fleas for about a month.
Yep. But
it can happen.
Do you think about how many times they can be bit in a day, like I had mentioned? It's going to show up.
Right. And instead of going out and buying flea and tick shampoo, please don't. Flea and tick shampoo, that is the biggest crock of expensive stuff you can get. Your absolute best bet is to go down, get the Comfortus, or even a topical treatment. Put the topical treatment on, or not both, or give them the Comfortus pill. Now the Comfortus pill, what's great about that, or any other pill form of flea and tick control, or flea control, is that you can give them the Comfortus and wash them the same time.
Yeah.
You can wash them before, you can wash them after. It doesn't matter because it's all from the inside out. I know some people don't quite care for that because you're putting poison inside your dog's body to work on the outside. And some people don't like the topical treatment on top because some dogs' skin is very sensitive and it might burn their skin. But either options are better than letting your dog go flea infested.
Yeah.
So if you decide to do the topical treatment, put the topical treatment on, wait a week, and then wash your dog. Wash off the dead fleas, wash off the flea dirt, the parasites that are on it, just wash it off then. If it's the pill, you can wash it at any point to get some of it off, but I would wait, give the pill a couple days to kick in, and let most of the fleas die off, so when you wash them, all the dead fleas come flying off. Fleas aren't typically very popular in the wintertime because it's so cold in certain regions of the U.S. Go to California, it's all the same.
Florida.
They'll have fleas no matter what. I don't care if it's in the dead of winter or the peak of summer. They're going to have fleas. Missouri, Minnesota, stuff like that, where there's an actual summer and an actual snowy winter where you have a hard freeze, you'll still pick up fleas or ticks. If not, some people have to keep them treated all year round, and some people don't start treating until about now, until it starts getting warmer. Even as soon as last month, start treating their pet.
They may not even wait. They may even wait another month till May. You never know with people.
Yeah, but it is advantageous to not get that flea and tick shampoo, to just go down to the veterinarian and buy flea treatment. I don't care for the ones you can buy at any grocery store. I'm a big fan of what you can pick up over at the veterinarian. Speak to the veterinarian if you have any questions about it. If you're worried about having small children and small hands that could touch topical treatment, then you need to get a pill form. If your dog has a sensitive stomach and can't handle stuff like that, then you gotta get the topical treatment. And if you have small kids with small hands and a dog that has sensitive stomach, you gotta make sure your dog is put somewhere where the kids cannot touch him for a couple days.
Good idea.
Because it is a like an oil base, so it clings to the hair and clings to the skin. If you have a double coated dog, make sure you separate the hair very well to make sure you can get that down into the skin or onto the skin. like I said, I'll just go with Comfortus. It's easier to shove it down Katana's throat than get the topical treatment in between her hair.
True.
But now flea and tick collars. I am not a fan of tick collars. Not a fan at all. They stink. They leave chalky powder stuff on your dog's neck, and they stink. They don't work, and they stink.
I always like removing one and seeing fleas.
Yeah.
That always makes me laugh. I'm like, well, that didn't work.
It might repel the ticks around the neck, because the ticks are not going to like the smell. They're not going to like it at all. So normally when you get a dog in that has a tick collar, the ticks are on their hind end area and the back legs. Because you can't tell me a little plastic strip that's around a dog's neck is going to protect it from ticks on its tail. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. There's just no way you're going to prove that to me. So I think these things are garbage. What I would do with them, buy them, cut them up in little pieces, shove them in your vacuum bag, vacuum your house up, especially if you've had a lot of flea problems inside the home. As you're vacuuming, the fleas are being thrown in there and they're dying because of the tick collar right there. Because it's fresh, it's brand new. Everything works perfectly brand new. And then when you're done with that bag and you're done with vacuuming up all these dead fleas that you know you have, take the bag out, tape the bag up so the fleas aren't going to pop out of it, and throw it away. If you have a bagless one, well, I don't know what your bagless one can handle.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you could put, cut up pieces in there. But if you have a bagless vacuum, dump it out real good and tie up the bag really nice and tight. Fleas can fit through any crevice of anything. So tie it up, throw it outside as soon as possible to help minimize the fleas inside the home.
Did you know that there are 2,000 species and subspecies of fleas?
No, actually I did not know that.
Yep. I was like, wow, 2,000 different kinds. Wow. And then, did you know that fleas are hardy and nimble, and when searching for a host, they can jump 10,000 times in a row? 10,000 times. I don't even walk 10,000 steps in a week, let alone 10,000 jumps to find a host. That was just crazy. It's like the length of 3 football fields. 3 pairs of legs make for excellent leaping capabilities up to 2 feet. And literally, flattened body allows quick movement in the dog's fur. So it's, they're able just to boom, 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 boom. It's just so amazing.
Bob and weave through all the hair follicles.
Right? What are some signs of fleas in your dogs? We mentioned it, the droppings or flea dirt in a dog's coat, flea eggs on a dog or in a dog's environment, allergic, I can't even figure out what that is, whatever, excessive scratching, licking, biting of skin. Now that also can be dry skin, so you have to be sure that there's fleas. So that's one thing I wanted to mention. If your dog's just scratching all the time, look on his fur, part the fur. If you'll see the little flea circus bouncing around. Yeah, the big parts to be able to look at would be in between their back legs. Yes. Under their armpit, underneath or at the base of the tail, sometimes around their head. And then every once in a while you'll be looking at your dog and all of a sudden something's running across their face. Mm-hmm. Those are freak out moments when you see it just running across the dog's face. Katana is very allergic to fleas. Yes. We have to keep her up or she'll tear herself a new one. Just completely tear herself up. Once the dog gets in the habit of tearing themselves up because of the fleas, it's going to continue even after the fleas are gone. So you got to continuously keep treating them until the fleas are dead and until their skin heals. And always keep it on, even if it's winter, because one flea can ruin a dog's coat. Yes. One simple flea that biting 400 times can screw up a dog something fierce. Well, you'll notice hair loss, pale gums, tapeworms, or scabs and hot spots. Now, scabs and hot spots, the hot spots could also be, if you gave a dog a bath.
It didn't rinse them
and
good
didn't
enough.
rinse them good enough, exactly. That could cause hot spots as well. So those are things you can look for. I'm going to put a bunch of different things in the show art, or description of the show, so you can read a lot more. I'm going to actually load it up with different things. Because I want to make sure that everybody's, fully aware of everything that you can
your
look
dog
for.
can get ear infections from fleas.
Mm-hmm.
Your dog can get Lyme disease from ticks.
Mm-hmm.
Ticks are nasty little boogers.
They really are.
When my Great Pyrenees start calling in to get shaved down this year, I always have a bottle of water with me, or a bottle with maybe about an inch or two of water.
Yeah,
in
like
it.
3 ounces maybe.
Not even.
That.
Not
Yeah,
even. Just a couple inches of water at the bottom of the water bottle, and my hemostats, because I am plucking ticks out left and right, and I drop them in that bottle. Sometimes they get real big.
Yes.
Really engorged, and they're the size of a quarter.
Yes.
They've been on there for a while.
Yeah.
A Great Pyrenees. It doesn't matter if it's dead of winter. They can still have ticks because underneath, if they burrow far enough underneath the fur, they can stay warm and not die.
Yeah, it could be in there from last summer.
Yeah.
I'll tell a story about ticks. This is kind of a gross story, so it was kind of gross. I don't know if you'll remember it the moment I mentioned it. You're like, oh my gosh. Actually, I was looking at Time Hop the other day and saw it. Last year, Sarah and I went to a movie together. We decided to go see Captain America Winter Soldier. And we decided, you know what, we're just going to go see a movie. We always catch superhero movies. So, we're at the movie theater, we're sitting down, and Sarah went, oh no. I went, what? She goes, I think I just got bit by a tick. And the movie hadn't even started. It was like just about to start.
It was the credits. It was not enough time to go into the bathroom, pull the little booger out.
Well, you didn't have hemostats with you.
No, I didn't.
So, as we're going through trailers and about to start the movie, I felt like, I don't know, it was in my mind, I kept saying to myself, this is in your head, but I felt this bite.
Like a needle prick.
Yeah, like this little needle prick, and I was just like, and it was in an unhappy, unmentionable area.
Below the belt.
Yes. And I was just like, oh gosh. And I'm thinking to myself, there's no way. No. You're just being nervous. She said it, so it's in your head. We got home. I had 2, and you had
1.
You had 1.
I had one big one right underneath my arm. And at this point, Chris didn't know how to remove ticks. We still haven't gotten to that part with your training, because we haven't had any issues with ticks up until now. And I got my tweezers, since I didn't have any hemostats, and you really don't want to pluck out ticks with your fingers, because you can't get to the head to pull them out. If you, especially in humans, if you leave the head behind, because the head detaches from the tick so easily. But if you leave the head underneath the skin, you're going to get infections. It's going to have to get lanced and the head pulled out. I mean, it's gross. So you got to be very careful when you're pulling it out of yourself. So I got my fine tweezers and got as close to the head as I possibly could and pulled them out.
Oh, and it does not feel good at all.
You about passed out.
Well, it was just so gross. It's my inner leg, and I'm just like, oh gosh. And they were small. They were babies. But they were still.
Yours was. Mine was a little bit bigger.
Yeah, you may have had one of the parents. Hey, in my mind, they were going to see a movie, and I was popcorn.
Yeah, we weren't in anywhere that would have had fleas and or ticks. We weren't out in the woods anywhere. We weren't in tall grass.
No. These were inside the movie theater. I called right afterwards to let them know. I don't know if they ever did anything about it. Probably
I don't think
not.
you really can. Just let them find a host and take them out themselves.
Oh, well, I just took out 2. You took out 1. That was gross.
Yeah.
I've seen them where they're so big that you barely have to, touch them and they come right out.
Or the dog shakes in the bathtub and one flies off.
Oh, yeah.
Because the tick is so engorged.
I actually had one that was so big, it just kind of hit the water and I got it and I crushed it. Now, the funny part about a tick and a snake, they're very much similar. Their heads, they're still alive. Their heads aren't, they're not, you don't get their head, which is always weird to me. It's like, oh.
Yeah, you can pop the body all you want, but they can grow a new body back.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Why you gotta actually, tear apart their head. And I got so annoyed with popping their bodies and ripping up their head that I just put them in the bottle of water. So that's why I have a small bottle of water next to me, and not enough to have an actual drink out of, so nobody mistakes it for a drink.
Well, actually, once you start though, within the first day, there's enough in there where you're gonna know. There's usually about 10, maybe more.
After the dog's done, I lock it up and throw it away.
There was one time, a few years ago, you had a whole bottle and they were still in there. You were just keeping them just for the craps and giggles. I remember you showed me. No, fine.
I wouldn't do that. That could be cruel. No, I didn't do that.
Scare me with them and run up to me.
Yeah, there were just a few in the bottom.
All right.
But
I could see her with one of those big, big water cooler ones running up to me, dumping it on my head, and go, "There, you won the Super Bowl." I could see you doing that to me. You're mean to me. You are.
Ticks generally lie in tall grass. They're carried on any kind of critter of the night
or the day.
Yeah. So you just want to be careful. I like Keith's chickens because the chickens eat the ticks.
Yes.
And it's great. You keep the ticks away from that area. It's quite nice. But yeah, don't mess with ticks. That's why it's super important to make sure your pet stays treated.
Yeah.
There you go. That's what I was looking for.
That's a good
Stay
word.
Treated.
Yeah. They're just not fun.
They're not fun. And then the flea and tick shampoos, another thing you don't want to do. I had somebody come in freaking out because their dog wasn't feeling good. And we're in a spot where people, for some reason, don't call their veterinarians first. They call their groomers. And she goes, my dog is lethargic. She's not moving. She's not doing anything. She's very down. She's panting real hard. I'm like, you gotta call the veterinarian. She goes, what could it be? I said, what'd you do?
What'd you do?
She goes, well, she had fleas, so I gave her the flea medicine, the oral medicine, and then a couple days later I used a flea and tick shampoo, and then I used a flea and tick shampoo like 2 or 3 times in a row in 3 different days. I said, you over-medicated your dog. Flea and tick shampoo is dangerous. I don't use it unless absolutely have to. I would use a medicated shampoo. I check the dog for fleas before I even do it. Some people think the dog scratches because they have fleas, and it's actually dry skin, like you said earlier. So she was like, what do I do? I'm like, you call your veterinarian and find out what to do. You call a vet. I don't care which vet. You call them and find out what you can do. Your best bet is probably just grab a bottle of Dawn and wash the dog in full Dawn to get any kind of medicine that you have on the dog off, because Dawn strips everything. And sure enough, a veterinarian told her to use the Dawn to strip off any of the chemical that could be left behind from the shampoo. Don't over-medicate. Be very cautious, but diligent on making sure your dog is medicated enough.
Very true. All right, well, I think that concludes episode 74.
I think so.
All right, everybody. Well, I'm Chris Green. Have a pet-tastic week.
And I'm Sarah Green. Make sure everybody realizes life is so short. Play with your pet.
Goodbye, everybody.
Okay, gotta go in my bedtime.
Was, without a doubt, the worst episode ever. Rest assured that I was on the internet within minutes, registering my disgust throughout the world.